Hey there, I'm so very excited today to have this moment to go through a very important topic that I know a lot of people are experiencing. Welcome to Women Who Boss Up, and we'll be talking about the topic of navigating a health scare. Today, I am having these three amazing entrepreneurial superstars to talk about this very important question. First of all, I have Summer Hartman, CEO and founder of Summer's Sleep Secrets. Hey, Summer.
Hey, Tam.
Also, Victoria Pleckenpole, CEO and founder of Oil Without Boundaries. Hey, Victoria.
So glad to be here.
And Dr. Usha Mantha, board certified physician and CEO and founder of Verve Med Spa. Hey, Dr. Usha.
Hey, Tam. Thank you.
I am really excited because, when I met these ladies, first of all, they're powerhouses in their own business, but they have all had their own experience with navigating the health scare, significant health scares. So they're all experts actually on this topic. But before we get started with some of the other questions that we have, just going to get a chance to meet each and every one of them to share some of the things they've experienced. So Summer, how have you navigated a health scare? I know you've had several throughout your life. Tell me a little bit about that.
Sorry. Yeah, so a little bit about myself is I'm a workaholic. So I tend to put everyone else first before myself. And so I can crash easy. My scare recently in the last 3 years was a doctor trying to help me lose weight, to put me on a drug, and the drug caused an interaction with my body, and it closed off my airway over a 5-year period. So very quickly, basically, I hit every doctor on the market trying to figure out what was wrong with me, and no one could come up with other than asthma, which had no sense because I had 100% breathing ability, but I couldn't breathe. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I had to have a collapse, and then once I collapsed, the doctor told me in the ER, I'm going to die, but they don't know why. And I was rushed into OR for them to open my airway. So it was a drug interaction, and it was very scary. And I think a lot of people have these and don't know it.
Yeah. Well, I know that you have, your story is incredible, and how you have, learned a lot about yourself, kind of started taking care of yourself, but you have this now. You have to really watch. You have, some things that are helping you out a little bit, but you kind of still are a workaholic, right?
Yeah, I am a workaholic. I mean, I wrote a book while I was dying. I didn't know why I was dying, but I was losing memory. So I wrote a book because I wanted to save my memory. And that's been fabulous because people just eat it up, because I gave all my secrets away about my job, being a sleep consultant, and I gave everything away. And I'm still fighting my airway closing off. 7 years now of fighting it, and it will never go away. It's just a constant upkeep. And so surgeries and steroid injections in my throat to keep it open. So I have to keep up on that. But again, I got hit by a car in December and was thrown 5 feet in the air outside a grocery store. He hit me so hard, and he broke my leg. And so it was like one of those moments in life where you pivot, because I was at like a really fast pace and I was working 7 nights a week, and it stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
So I was in the hospital again. So I have a broken leg. So I'm still a workaholic around that, but I'm healing. You just never know what's going to happen to you. Are you going to get up off the ground and keep working? Are you going to keep going? Or are you going to stop in your tracks? And both of these scares easily could have had me stop.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think a lot of times I notice when I've had health scares in the past that it helps me to reevaluate how I'm working in my life, like how I'm doing things. It makes me stop for a minute and say, okay, is this the best way? Can I take care of myself and take care of all the stuff that I'm doing? So I think navigating a health scare, that's one of the lessons that I have personally learned, just kind of, how you reframe your life.
Yeah.
Dr. go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry. Thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Well, we'll come back to this because this is a really good point. And I think that with your experience, it'll come up again about how we do some of these things. So Dr. Usha, how are you? Tell me a little bit about your experience with navigating health. I mean, that's what you do. You navigate health scares every single day, right?
Well, thank you, Tam. I know. And I think I just want to like preface this that when we actually started this, of course, I have been through, health scare about 20 years ago when my, 36-year-old husband got diagnosed with lung cancer, and 2 years later he passed away. And subsequently, me and you have actually recorded quite a bit of my life. And thank you for doing that. And I learned that if it can happen to anybody else, it can happen to us.
Yeah.
I was a physician. My husband was a physician. I have other members of my family. But when disease comes, it doesn't look for a person's who the person is. You could be millionaire, billionaire, whatever creed, whatever color, whatever we are. The disease comes to us. It does, and it really pulls away the rug under our feet, and it makes us an ordinary person. But I do want to, and over the years, Tam, and as we have said before also, I personally, last year on July 24th, my car got totaled because I was in, multiple crashes, and I came out alive. But something else that has happened, Tam, within the last 3, 4, 5 months, I must say, has changed my whole trajectory about my own healthcare and health scare, because now I'm involved with providing care as frontline, and it has changed my whole attitude. I almost have forgotten what happened to me, because I get phone calls every single day about young people being diagnosed with COVID, and families have to be dealing with this stress, and it's a totally brand new stress. So whether it is stress of sharing space, whether it is stress of learning new technology, mothers with little kids at home, it's throwing off the anxiety. The novel anxiety in this novel COVID is unbelievable, unseen before. People who have not gotten it, they are not understanding. But I come from my son, my would-be daughter-in-law, everybody's frontline. We talk every day. They're like, Mom, it's unbelievable. Young people are dying, and it is here to stay. So I don't want to, scare our audiences, but I want to say that this has taken over everything that has happened in past, whether it's personal or for my patients. It's so hard to isolate in a home. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
The social isolation, the social lockdown. So this scare of pandemic, which really took us without any notice. Right. Without any notice. And this has scared us the more. So people who haven't seen these patients, and because I am getting calls every time they show a blimp up on the television screen, the Monday comes and I get 4 or 5 new calls. And I'm counseling my patients. It's people are crying. They are really scared. And the scare is so real. You don't have to die to really be scared. But unfortunate part is we didn't see it coming. We were so poorly, prepared financially, health-wise. So this is the time. I don't know how many times I'm getting on, on the Facebook to sort of talk about health. I mean, this is the time to prevent anything you have happened. This is the time to take your health and wealth in control, because we are given a level field. Think about this. It never happened before. Never happened that we all start from scratch. No matter where you come from, where you are going, we all are starting from scratch. If it hasn't touched somebody's home or family, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You can't see it, but it's there. And I do want to quickly throw this in, how it's different than flu, because people are talking and saying, oh, it's like another flu. Flu only gets your lungs most of the time. Most of the time, if you have poor lungs, asthma, diabetes, having sleep apnea, flu only mostly gets but this pandemic, this virus is getting the whole body. Young people are dying of stroke, 2 weeks after the episode, because this one is getting the whole systemic, every single thing in the body. So I just want to quickly throw in 10 symptoms, and maybe we can come back to this. So whether you have dizziness, headache, pressure behind the eyes, feeling nausea, feeling chest pressure, which is very important, and of course, dry cough, soreness of your throat, even single-handed diarrhea, we know now, abdominal pain can be presenting. And it's unbelievable how many patients I've sent in saying, you have this symptom, please check. And, people are apprehensive now of testing, but all we are saying is if you do test positive, we'll manage you a little bit differently than you are not. So these are the symptoms. And of course, if somebody becomes, 10 days, we are saying first 10 days from the first symptom is most crucial. If you get short of breath, get help. And if it is 14 days, fortunately, you are not as infective after 14 days. But either way, it doesn't matter what politics says, what the White House says or the CDC says. All we as family physicians or as doctors, as frontliners are saying, please wear your mask and prevent it. Two things we know about it. One thing is it is nasal and respiratory and oral, and it is within 6 feet or closer. But it's common sense almost, Tam. I'm not even sure why people argue about this. What is there to argue? If you are hugging and kissing, we understand you're missing hugging and kissing, but once you get the virus and the isolation and the financial pressure people are having is unbelievable. It's above and beyond hugging and kissing, because, we appreciate people's emotions, but I think the most difficult time is mothers with little kids at home. Yes. I can't educate my kids at home, I tell you that much. I'm so grateful for teachers, and this is a hard time for them. They can't go to work. They can't stay home. I think we just have to be lots of patience.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm glad you brought this up because I have a lot of frontline doctors in my family as well. And, I think at the end of the day, when I talk to them specifically who are in the hospitals dealing directly with the patients, that's all I need to hear, right? I know what they're dealing with and it's real, and people are very sick and some are dying and some are, having lasting symptoms afterwards.
Worse than cancer, unfortunate part is, and on that note, I do want to bring this up, is that if you are, even if it's out there, we are not asking people to not go after their existing illness because that can make it worse. So we will be pushing all our immunizations for a flu shots, because immunization for COVID will take time. But we will prevent what we already know, and which is our pneumonias, which is our respiratory viruses, other viruses. So we are going to suggest patients do get their annual checkups as best as they can, work with their physicians. Some can come into the office, not everybody has to come in. At the same time, even if you see your doctor and if they know you, if something changes in you, they will be able to pick it up and help you. Because right now I'm saying to everybody, just partnership, team. And we appreciate people who are helping otherwise, who are the sleep therapists and, psychologists. And we are trying to embrace everyone.
Yeah.
We're not trying to say we can do everything. So we appreciate everyone who is participating in wellness.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Been ever this significant, Tam, before, right?
Yeah.
And I have to say, once the diagnosis comes, it's very, very difficult. We don't know how to isolate, what we can do. Can we eat? Can we wash? Can we, touch each other? How long? What happens? So let us prevent. And
I'm so glad that you brought this up. Victoria, tell me a little bit about your health scare and how you have navigated it.
Great, thank you. So when I was 21 and I was seemingly perfectly healthy, I had a cardiac event, Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, and landed in the emergency room and in having, a heart procedure very unexpectedly, and young and seemingly healthy before that. And I remember just being on the cardiac ward at UCSF, looking around, and everybody else that was there was older, overweight. This was back in the days when, do you believe, we used to smoke in hospitals, so people were smoking. I know, it's like I'm aging myself there, and I remember it was the moment in my life when I came through it, and I had an experimental heart procedure that's actually now common, but at the time it was experimental. And I remember thinking, if I come through this, I'm going to figure this out and not come back here on my own accord. And so that was the kind of that pivotal moment that put me on a whole different trajectory with my life. I became a nutritionist. I'm now a certified aromatherapist. I'm a functional medicine coach. I really started living with intention, you know, and I wanted to figure out the body and the mind and like, how could we live our life to the fullest, right? And I love what Dr. Usha was saying, you know, preventative, preventative, preventative. And that is so true. And there's so many things that we can be doing to strengthen and empower our health in this time, physically and emotionally. And that's just become my entire focus, is to help people, you know, build up their immunity. That's the number one thing we need right now. Build up our immunity and protect our mind from fear.
Yes. Yes.
So that's who I am and what I'm about.
I love it. I love it.
It was that heart attack that put me on that path. So sometimes what seems to be the worst thing that could happen to you can turn out to be the best thing that happened to you.
Yeah. It's a lot of times I've noticed that happens, you know. All right. So I'm going to jump now into, we're going to do a little round robin. We had some amazing questions that came in through our community of women with Vision International. And so we're going to go around. I'm going to start with Summer, and I want you just to tell who asked the question, ask the question, and then go ahead and answer it.
All right. So Karen Mead, she says, describe how one should go about putting their support system together, meaning keeping the right supportive people close and not feeling guilty about who you choose. Oh my gosh, this is actually a really good question, because it's the support system that's going to get you through the medical problems you're having at that point. And sometimes it's not the people you would assume. Nobody knew how to help me with my particular case. So it was just, rub my back. We love you. But I actually really much stayed with my husband, and he was my main support system. I kind of ignored people who were really close to me before because I couldn't handle the stress of explaining why I was so sick. And so you need to pick and choose who's your best support system. And it may not be your husband, it may be your mother, it may be your sister, it might be, it depends on who you really gravitate to. But my husband was my main link for support. I feel bad for him because he had to deal with my screaming and yelling and wanting to die, because there was moments where I said, I just don't want to go on from this point. And he just sit there and almost cry with me, because it's I don't know how to push you through. He's like, you can get through this. And it's like, how do you get through something when you can't walk from the bed to the bathroom and it's 10 feet without breathing? So, that was my support system, was my husband. Keeping the right support people and not feeling guilty is hard. I think that there's always guilt because they feel neglected, and they'll tell you that people don't support you necessarily like you would expect. I feel bad for my parents, but I'm not close to them as much as I wish I was, and they want to be close. So sometimes it's really close people you think would be closer to you. And so you really kind of have to navigate, but I don't have any guilt about anything. It's at this point, I just got to survive. And that's really what it comes down to, is getting through the process and then learning from it. So that's what I did.
I love that. That is a great answer to that question. Yeah. Finding the right people. I think, I think my answer would be my husband too. He's my person, and so very good. Thank you, Summer. Okay, we're going to go on to Dr. Usha. I know you have some amazing stuff to share with us.
So I just want to say what Summer has said, and just a sentence on that, and then I'm going to go to my question. Caregiving is very difficult. It's very complex. You can imagine, first of all, caregiving to someone very young and healthy, because they have their expectations, and then the caregiver has to match those expectations. So I always tell my patients, I'm a family doctor, it's very difficult to be sick. So let's just, not get there. Don't let you see me. So that's why I think caregiving is very complex. So Summer, thank you for that. So my question is from Teresa Bean. First, actually, I'm going to go to Leela Veronica. What is the best way to help people feel safer right now? It's a very good question. And of course, I'm going to add the second question from Teresa. What do I need and how to handle now? So I'm hoping this question is about the COVID-19, Tam. So here are my things, right? So let me just briefly tell you about things we know and what we can do and what we should expect. And I'm going to be very brief, hopefully. So we do know this virus is going to be here. It's here, it got us, and it's so easy to just get rid of it, because even if we have numbers, what numbers we don't have is the numbers in the hospital, number of dying and deaths. So as a family, as a medical community, we are saying that go with numbers, but this is here to stay for the rest of the year, number one. So what we can do, so we can make ourselves healthy. So for that reason, please keep making sure that safely is the word, you can go get your checkups done. If you are someone who needs your medications refilled on time, call the doctors, get all these things going, because now is the best time to prepare for fall and winter. So prepare your medications, be proactive. You know, we have been a society, unfortunately, we have been chasing our money habits, and we have got ourselves into a position we are neither having money or wealth, neither money nor health. So we want to get out of that, and we have to support each other. So we now take control of our health. This has taken us really by, surprise. So we would encourage you to make sure health becomes your priority. Of course, take help as much from your nutritionist, your dietitian, your primary care. I'm actually board certified in obesity medicine, and I am trying to do my best to, help people, help women, men and women, get into a healthy, optimize their weight. So that is very, very important. If you have asthma, get your immunizations under control. If you are someone who's suffering more like medical help, like chemotherapies, and if you need all, or any other intervention, please know that if you wear your mask properly, if you, take all precautions, then you should, and you have to go and get your treatment. Let us not lose focus, because things happen to us. So get your mammograms. Get your health checked, get your PSA checked. So let us not let the, virus blind us. At the same time, it is here to stay. So like I said, the two things that we definitely know and we are trying to encourage is to wear your mask, wear your mask, wear your mask. It's not just you to protect yourself, it's to protect the other person. You can see in the news, everyone who defied it, this is a mechanical problem. It's not a political issue. It is not a doctor's issue. It is nothing. It's just a mechanical issue. The virus spreads from coughing, sneezing. It's sitting right here. Please prevent it for yourself, for your kids, for everybody else. And of course, hand washing and, sort of taking all the PPE precautions. So that's how you should be able to steer it. If someone does diagnose with this, isolate them for 2 weeks and they should be fine. During isolation, watch for any shortness of breath. That is single most important symptom that should take you for further testing. If not, then you be able to stay home. Elderly are vulnerable, so please try and this is another thing, Tam, I said that, the virus does not know whether you're family or friend or, best of the besties and BFFs and, all these things are for Facebook only. The virus does not know these things, guys, okay? So, and every single time there have been people, hospital ICUs, they have told nurses, I wish I didn't go to this party. I wish I didn't go to this party. Not trying to scare you, but when you work in the medical profession, there is nothing but scary. We are broken. We are brokenhearted. All my group is, so sad and so stressed out. So basically, stay healthy and protect. So that's what I want to, give the answer. I can answer about the anxiety when we come next round.
Yeah. Thank you so much, doctor. This is excellent. Victoria, I know you have a question as well. What you got?
I do. I have a question from Clara Capano, and she asks, how do you keep a positive mindset, especially with others around you that may be more negative? Wow, that is such a great question because, you know, the people that I always say, you know, you can become what you hang about, right? And if you have a lot of negativity, it can pull you down. It can just suck the joy right out of you, right? And so, number one is if you have some positive people, choose them, right? Just choose to spend more time with them. And if the negative person is a close family member, you know, you're going to have to deal with that. And you're going to have to get coping strategies to deal with that, right? So a couple of things that I do outside of just obviously choosing the positive over the negative is I am very intentional about pouring in positivity to myself, because we know that negativity actually has a negative effect on your immune system. When you start becoming depressed and sad and scared and people are drawing you down, it literally will affect your immune system. So if you can think about this, I do not receive negativity. If I have somebody in my home or in my sphere that is negative, I'm like, I am not receiving that. I'm just not receiving it. I'm choosing positivity. And I will actually say that to them. You come to my house, the hand goes up if you say something that I'm not receiving that. You know, we need to get up and do something positive. And so I read a lot of books. I read a lot, watch a lot of documentaries. I know things that will make me feel empowered and more energized, right? I mean, you can just get up and do some qigong for like 3 minutes and change, you just shift the whole mood, right? We're not talking about, you know, spending 2 hours meditating or buying your Lululemon gear and going to a gym for you can shift in a minute. You can shift by putting on your favorite essential oil and doing some Wim Hof breath work. You can shift the attitude. If somebody brings you down, do something to shift it, right? You are in control unless you give your control over to the negative people, okay? And so if you need to walk out of the door, I mean, you all would be like, love to be around me for a minute. Like, I just walk out. And I'll just say, you know, I'm not rude. I'll just say, you know, I need to go breathe. And I will go outside. I have created like a little space in my garden that's where I can sit. I have trees. It's a little patch of grass that I can put my feet on. So I can be earthing. I can be getting the aroma and the volatile molecules from the trees. It's called forest bathing. We all know that this will lift you, your health and your immunity, and you feel empowered. So I think when you take control and when you're intentional, being aware is key. And then making the shift, having little tricks to shift and don't receive the negativity. Nothing wrong with the hand up. Just, I'm not going to receive it. So that's what I do.
I love it. Oh yes. I'm really a big proponent of that. You know, I do not receive it. And here's the thing. And I think we said it on another episode. I think Kimberly said, no one's coming. No one's coming. That means you have to do it, right? You're not looking for someone else to cheer you up, looking for someone else to bring you positivity, looking for someone else to handle your shit, right? You have to handle it.
And there is so much positivity out there. There's, you know, happiness Facebook groups, right? There's, you know, so what are you choosing to read? What are you choosing to watch? Yeah. Are you watching the news and becoming traumatized by what's going on? Right. Or are you going on the happiness group and choosing to feel better and choosing to empower yourself so that you can get through this? Because when you have joy, when you have positivity, when you feel empowered, when you are intentional, it boosts your immune system. And as much as I adore Dr. Usha, I want to see her socially, not professionally.
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, okay, you guys, this is now the fun part. I know we have so many more questions, but we're going to talk about self-care. And this is like so important to me because for years, I was much like Summer, you know, a workaholic, driving, you know, type A personality, doing the most. And then, of course, health stuff show up because all the stress and anxiety and all the inflammation that I'm throwing into my body and holding on to because of I'm not taking care of myself. So I always want to remind us super women, we have to take care of ourselves, self-care. So Summer, what do you like to do for your self-care?
I knew you were going to ask this question and I was like, oh my God, can she just take a video of me sleeping?
Right.
I literally am like, that's my self-care. I mean, I can't run right now with my leg broken, so I've lost my exercise ability, but I walk, so that's good. My self-care is honestly reading a book. Like, I love reading. I've read since I learned at 4th grade. So I read, and that makes me relax. I drink coffee, you know, with my cup of coffee. But we are building a pool in the backyard, and I am just so excited. It's supposed to be finished hopefully this week. So that will be my new self-care, is actually in my backyard, my sanctuary. And I'm so excited to have earth grounding. I feel like we can't go very far where we're at in this life right now. We're kind of like, we can't go to the mall like we used to. Like, I used to go shopping with my daughter every weekend. And it was our time. And now it's like, neither of us want to mask up or go anywhere. So we just drive around in circles in the car. Talk, right, or listen to music, you know, so it's kind of like we've regrouped our self-care. So that's pretty much it. I read, I drink my coffee, and we drive around and listen to music as mom and daughter. And yeah, that's it. And my husband actually stays home for the most part. He has muscular dystrophy, so we don't go very far. So
yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing. I mean, it really is. We got to kind of reprogram. What does it look like, right?
Yeah.
I used to get my nails and you know, mani-pedi all the time. Like, get my hair done was like my self-care. It had to happen. It was on my schedule. I don't care what's going down. Now I walk every single day. It's like my thing, 10,000 steps every single day. And I have to do it. And it's scheduled because if I don't do it, I cannot do all the other stuff that I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Usha, what about you?
Thank you, Tam. Okay, so number one, I just want to touch base on one issue that I want to say, that I think on our thread initially on our group, there was a question about anti-anxiety medications. So I just want to give some tips to others, and then I'll tell you what I'm doing. So number one, anxiety is something real. So ask for help, talk to your family, friends, whoever it is. You know, when this anxiety starts showing body symptoms, it's time to ask for help. So that's your A. Always acknowledge it. And the second thing is, of course, you should try some online, sort of apps. I'm not part of any apps, and the disclaimer is I don't own anything, but there are some that is actually endorsed by the Academy. They are called 7 Cups. It's online app, and you can actually get a personal trainer, a personal therapist to talk. And there is some fear tools. So those are the 2 Academy has looked at, and we just tell our patients. Number 3 is complementary medications or alternative medicines like echinaceas. Those are also proven. You are able to take them. If those fail and you are getting more anxious, you should go for therapy, which includes your cognitive behavior therapy and mindfulness. That is very significant. And as you were saying, Victoria, we have to shift our energy, and it's about energy and the negative vibes. As much as we are scared, but even for self-help, I actually started meditation, which I have never done in my life. I've always suggested other people do, but really, truly, I'm actually in meditation, and I'm really growing from inside. I know what to do before I step into my office, because, I have to be strong for my patients to be strong. They don't want to see a crying doctor saying, if you can't help yourself, how are you going to help me? And I can't be that person. So I'm doing mindfulness. I'm reading books. I must say, I like this downtime because I can get my book reading, and it's growing us, right? But about medications, Tam, someone asked about medications. That is your last resort. But unfortunately, I have to tell you that I am writing more of anti-anxiety medicines. There are very shortly 2 types of them. So the short acting and the long acting. And yes, you can get off of the medications. Talk to your doctor. This time is not permanent. So let us not be living in fear. Let us just tackle it. Let us just treat it and get you strong enough so you can move on, you can do things, and you can utilize your time at home better with your family. Because after all, we have to stay home for a little longer. And we just want you to know medications are not like end all, but at the same time, they do help you to get over the short-term, palpitations, shortness of breath, headaches. When you become functionless, you need to get help. And you talk to your doctor. They're not forever. You can come out. 6 to 9 months is when we actually treat patients for. But so for me, meditation and, sort of reading books.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I've recently started doing more meditation. I'm always telling people to do meditation, but now, especially before I do stuff, before I start, if I want to get really, really grounded and present, I find meditation works. You do not have to do an hour. You can do a quick little breathing session just to get yourself present. I think that helps a lot.
Yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, and Qigong, just you mentioned, all of these are like proven to be an adjuvant to your treatment for anxiety and depression. So I think if you can get hold of anything that you can, anything little is fine. Just start it, do it, stay on it.
Yeah, that's right. Victoria, what about you? What do you do for self-care?
What don't I do is a better question. So I love this conversation because I'm a big believer in integrative healthcare. I absolutely adore doctors. We need them. But I'm a big believer in a first line of defense, like preventative, taking care of yourself. And there is a lot that we can do out there for the stress and the anxiety with our healthcare, with our self-care. Because our self-care, it will help us to become the best version of us, the strongest, calmest version of us. I'm not talking about mani-pedis, though I do like those. I am talking about intentional up-leveling of your health, right? And you touched on something, Tam, that is critical. You schedule it. If you do not put it in your calendar, it can slip away for weeks. And I'm going to just say women are the worst, especially moms, right? Because we feel self-care is somehow selfish.
Right. It's not crazy. I know.
Not. Self-care is a priority so that you can show up for your children, for your partner, as the best version of yourself. So what do? I schedule it in my calendar. And when I use a vibration plate in front of an infrared therapy light while I'm listening to affirmations, right? I mean, that is like 20 minutes to start my day in the right mindset. And I'm doing 3 things at once, all right? Another thing I can do later in the day, like around lunchtime, and I love that I get to work from home, is I will take one of my grounding oils. So essential oils are so effective for calming. And I will put some, I usually will pick like a cypress or a Siberian fir, a wood oil, and I'll put it on the bottom of my feet. And then I will go out to my little patch of grass and I will put my feet on the ground and do breath work. And that's meditative as well. And I'm in the trees. And this is the deal. If you live in a high-rise apartment, I normally live in a high-rise apartment in a big giant city in China. So how do I recreate that? What if you don't have that patch of grass and some trees? You can go and get an earthing pad, which is going to ground you in the house, right? So you can get an earthing pad and then you get a little diffuser and you take an essential oil I like wood-based oils for grounding. So I will use Balance, or I will use, Siberian fir, Douglas fir, one of these. And I'll put the diffuser on and I will put my feet on the earthing mat and just close my eyes. And Dr. Usha was saying there's some apps out there. So Headspace is a great app. If you don't know how to bring it down and meditate, and you can start off with 3 minutes. right? You do not have to start off and do, my son, he went to India and he did a 7-day meditation in silence. I don't have time for that, people. Do 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. That's all I got.
It's silent.
I don't know how he's my son. But, there are, another trick. There's so many little tricks out there to up-level your health at a cellular level. These little latte zips?
Yeah.
Did you know that if you froth your water, it puts energy into the water, and then you drink it, and it actually will give energy to your cells at the mitochondria level. And this is cheap, right? This did not cost me anything. I put energy. It's called EZ water. If you do a search on that, probably a guy named Dave Asprey is going to pop up. He's like the king of biohacking. There's all these little tips and tricks that make you feel better physically and emotionally, but they also make you feel in control and empowered. And that's what's going to get us through this pandemic. And, Dr. Usha said, it is here. It is kind of here. My mom and I have had conversations like, we're probably going to get exposed at some point. So we need to be at our best. Our immune system, our mindset, our positive, our empowering. And there are free things. It is free to put your feet on the earth. If you're in New York City, you might want to get an earthing pad. If you can't get out there, but just because you're in an apartment. But you can be ready. So if you do get exposed, you are going to be at your fighting best with a good mindset that says, I will fight this.
Yes.
And
I think
not be afraid.
No, don't be afraid. And this is so good, you guys. I mean, like, it's mindset, getting your fighting best with your mindset, getting your fighting best with your body, getting your fighting best with your health. Everything is you get in front of it, expecting to win, expecting to come out on the other side. So it really is preventative. This has been lovely. All 3 of you have been amazing. Strong women, strong entrepreneurs who have experienced their own health scares. And so right now it's nothing but a thing, nothing but a chicken wing, as they say. And so thank you guys for your time. And just look out for our new book that's coming out very soon in August called Women Who Boss Up. And I look forward for your comments and all of your feedback. And we'll see you again in the next episode. Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Summer Hartman, and I am launching the Women Who Boss Up book with 16 others entrepreneurs. And I wanted to kind of share a little bit about my self-care. First off, I'm very much about working with others, so it's very hard for me to actually do self-care. But one thing I did this summer is actually build a pool, and that is now my self-care. The other thing that I do is I read a lot. I love reading. So that is actually my kind of out from everything. So that's kind of my self-care too. And since it's COVID, I don't do my nails anymore like I used to, but I still get my lashes done. So that's kind of a little bit about what I do. But basically the main thing that's gonna happen is the pool. That's my self-care and my gift to myself.